Okay, thank you. So the problem has been solved. There was issue with the audio. So I'll start again. So welcome everyone. Good morning. And we are going to start with the webinar on industry fit data science. And the name of the webinar is self-explanatory of its purpose, which is to bridge the gap between the knowledge we create and impart in universities and the implementation skills required by various industries, especially when it comes to implementation of statistical methodologies through dynamic computational algorithms in real life industrial and research projects. And we are delighted to have Ms. Ananya Ghosh amongst us today. She is a senior data scientist with vast experience in research and corporate projects related to data science. Her areas of expertise traverses the fields of recommender systems, predictive modeling based on big data, meta-analysis, network meta-analysis, text mining, big data analytics, sentiment analysis, to among many others. And she has been providing training in data science to corporate executives and students, both undergraduate and postgraduate levels, for more than 6 years. Now, without wasting much time, I would request Ananya to take over the session. Ananya, please, it's over to you now.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thanks for this great introduction, and I welcome all of you to this session. Um, it is really nice speaking to all of you today. Yeah, so um, I'll be sharing my screen. Hope everyone can see my screen, right?
Yes, Ananya, it's visible.
Okay, thank you so much. So, yeah, so the big keyword data science is something which we are going to speak today about. Um, this session is basically to understand what is data science, how we are going to leverage data science in industry, how people basically understand that where the implementation of data comes into play when it comes to business decisions, and also if at all there are students, or if at all there are corporate employees, how they can bridge the gap between their knowledge and also the industry expectations. So basically this program which is conducted over here is an industrial fit program. So by the name itself we can understand that it's a program to make you industrial fit, right? So before we go into what is fitness required for industry, we would like to see a little bit about what is data science, right? So basically now this is a keyword which is used in each and every job descriptions, or any other it's a kind of a jargon which is used, right? But what is exactly data science? So it is basically to extract out meaningful insights from data, right? So how do you basically extract out meaningful insights? Through the knowledge of programming, through the knowledge of mathematics, and obviously statistics. So statistics and mathematics is the base for data science, for understanding how we can play with data. So because we use various kinds of algorithms which have a base of mathematics and statistics. So basically what do data scientists do? So they apply machine learning algorithms to various types of data. So the data can be in the form of numbers, the data can be in the form of text, the data can be in the form of images, video, audio, etc., etc. So wherever we leverage the different types of data and try to understand that what are the insights from that particular data. Now somebody would think that what are the insights that we can get from a video or from audio. So I would also take you through in the coming slides regarding like how to play with the audio or video data. There also we do have particular features with which we can definitely find out certain insights. So this is interesting, and also this is one of the uh, hottest field that is considered right now in the 21st century. So how actually data science came into being? Data science came into being almost around over last 50 years. So it was not a new field, definitely, because people used to work in any of the other segments of data science. Now over the last 10 years, the term data science has come out, and the term data scientist and data analyst and business analyst, all this have come out. But this field is not a new field. So it was basically found out by a mathematician called John Tukey. So he started learning about the history of data, of how to use a particular data in 1962, right? And he predicted the effect of electronic computing on data analysis. So this was one of the pioneer studies for people to understand more about data science, and also about understanding how data science and artificial intelligence could play a role, and it would play a huge role in the coming future, right? So why data science? Basically, data science is, if I talk from the industry perspective, then definitely it is required to understand like how a industry can be profitable. I don't want to go much into the industry and business aspect, but I would definitely like to mention here that industries make decisions based upon data. So if you have data of previous years, for example, let me give you an example. For example, they wanted to know that what should be the sales. They want to forecast what should be the sales for the next year. So definitely they would go for the sales figures and the sales data for the last 10 years or maybe 15 years, and they would forecast that okay, for the next year the sales can be this, right? So in that way data helps out to understand the pattern, to understand what are the underlying technicalities that are there to understand a particular aspect. So I gave you an example of sales, it might be any example. So we will see few of the recent use cases that is basically used by people, and you would be really shocked to understand that even a small bit of data can bring a large amount of value, right? So basically industries wanted to go in a data driven way to have their business expansion decisions done, to understand their clients needs. If at all somebody is working on a consulting or a product farm, then how they are going to leverage their clients needs, and what are the type of products they seek to produce right out of their company. So all of the major decisions are basically understanding the data underlying it. So the amount of data increases, the amount of complexity increases. So that is why understanding and using this data in a proper format, in a proper way, in a proper term is very, very important. That is where the need of data science comes into. Why should you learn data science? Now, people might be thinking that why should we learn data science at this point of time where we are in the academia and we have not gone into industry. But definitely after your academia is over, some way or the other, either you will go to a research, either you will go to academia. So there will be two ways where you are going to place yourself, right? So if you are going into a research, definitely you have to suppose you are doing a research on a particular product and you don't know how that product is basically working in the market. How would you know that? Obviously with the help of data, the previous data that that particular similar kind of product or similar kind of analysis somebody else would have done, and you will be taking that reference and then you will be continuing with your research. If you come to the industrial part, once you are done with your degree, you are going to a industry, you are joining as a initial data analyst to a particular industry. So if at all you don't brush up yourself, you don't have yourself placed in that position, it will be completely new to you. When you enter the industry, it will be completely new to you. That is where the need of learning data science prior to joining industry or research is much more important, and that is where people find it much more utilizable while they go into a particular field. So it is told that it is a fuel of 21st century. It is told that data is the new oil. If you don't have data, you don't have work. If you don't have data, you don't have business, right? You don't understand business well if you don't understand data well. So basically what a person who is into data science understands, they understand, they use their tools and other things to find out what is there inside data. They chisel out that and they see some meaningful observations through it to make certain decisions. So there might be high performance computing that might come up while the complexity of the data increases. So if you don't learn the initial part of how to crunch a data, then definitely once the data increases, the complexity increases, and basically industries work with complex data. So that time the high performance computing aspect won't come into your part, right? So that is where learning of data science is much more important. And it is also said that it is there is a problem with the demand and supply. There is a huge demand of people who have experience in data science or have learned data science, but there is a lack of there is a lack of supply. I mean, how much ever demand is there, the supply is very less. So that's why more and more people, more and more other all the data science community is coming together to help out other people to learn data science, so that they are also in the same journey and they also can go ahead to remove or to eradicate this lack of data literacy in the market, right? It is told that it is the career of tomorrow. Definitely it's a career of tomorrow. So with this we would see some of the applications as in various industries. So because of limitation of time, I cannot show you all the examples, but definitely a few examples to understand where and in which industry mostly data science or the usage of data is there. So these are few of the examples which I tried to take up, and so that I can tell you what are the real time examples that where data is used, right? So this is about retail. So retail, basically the retail chains and the retail industry uses data to a maximum. Okay, so there are few examples here. Like if you see here, So you can see price optimization. So price optimization is a type of analysis that is done by almost 98 to 99% of the industry who is into retail. Because if at all you see here in the screenshot, you can see that Adidas, right? Adidas is a shoe brand, and they wanted to understand what are the price ranges in various e-commerce platforms. So they wanted to see in eBay, they wanted to see in Amazon, they wanted to see in Walmart, right? So if at all they wanted to have a comparative analysis, and they wanted to find out how much percentage more expensive their products are than their competitors, or maybe how much more expensive this e-commerce companies are selling it online. So they always wanted to have such kind of a dashboard which uses the previous a period of data. I mean, it can be a short period, it can be a long period, definitely to focus, to understand that what are the technicalities, or what are the differences that they are finding out in the price ranges that is there with them, and that is there with the other e-commerce sites, or maybe their other competitors. So that is where they have to optimize their price points, right? So this is a classic example of price optimization, where people do try to understand it with the help of data, right? Next would be personalized marketing. Now you might be seeing in few of the banners of Coca-Cola, and a very 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 interesting example is Netflix. Okay, so Netflix does a lot of data engineering and a lot of use of data from their viewers. So they see that how many people have watched a particular category of web series, for example. So they would recommend that person regarding that similar kind of web series, that you may also watch this. I think when you open the Netflix panel, you would see that once you watch a movie, after that you can see you may also like some list of movies will be there. So this is some kind of a recommendation which is going in the back end, based upon the pattern of your seeing the movies, right? So whatever pattern it takes up, it understands that, okay, this person has to be recommended this movie, that web series, and so on. So like that, Netflix also understands that what is their customer retention that they are trying to do, whether they are able to give the proper recommendation to their customers, and to their viewers, and whether they should improve. And maybe if at all somebody wouldn't have watched anything for the last 1 year, they know that this particular consumer is going to move out of Netflix, and they might also see maybe Amazon Prime or some other OTT platform, right? So in that kind of way, they understand with the help of data that this is the percentage of people who are probably enjoying us, and these are the percentage of people who are probably not enjoying us. So how we should improve the user experience. So that is where also the leveraging of data is done, right? Basically, it also goes with not only kind of Netflix, it also goes with any kind of brand that you see in the market, whether it is Coca-Cola, whether it is very big brand Amazon. So that was one of the reason why whenever Amazon and Flipkart came into being in India, Flipkart got acquired by Walmart. It was purely based upon the data driven decisions. They saw how Flipkart has come into the Indian market, and they know that how much Flipkart has captured over the Indian market. So that is where the utility of data has come as such, to make decisions that, okay, they should take over Flipkart, because they don't have a existence in the Indian market. So all those are quite hidden, but definitely there are data driven decisions beyond that, right? Then there can be fraud detection. So fraud detection is very common in retail segment. Fraud detection, it's not only in retail, it can be in any other segment as well, but retail mostly faces fraud detection. Frauds mainly, if at all you talk about Amazon or Flipkart, right? So they also go through a lot of signatures every day where people try to intrude into their systems. People, some hackers try to come into their systems, or some of the frauds happen during their transactions or something. So there is a dedicated team, a whole dedicated team to understand how to detect, how to save the company from losses, how to detect the fraud that is coming from all the possible sources, right? So it is basically, if fraud comes up, what are the different ways that it can hurt your business? It can definitely bring loss to the business. It can create a harm to the reputation of the business. It can have certain loss from the partner's end, and as well as it can increase the operational costs, right? Because once fraud happens and once it is not detected and managed properly, it goes on happening every time. The signatures goes on happening every time, and you never know, the similar signatures may not come. It may come into as a different packet. So therefore, detecting of frauds is one of the biggest area where data is taking into being, and it is leveraged into retail, right? And the biggest example is social media. Nowadays it's the age of social media, and people, even if you go to buy a cloth, you just see that what are the reviews in Facebook, in Instagram, and then you go to buy a particular product. So even social media feeds and data is also important for a company to understand how much popular their product is, right? So these are some classical examples of how data science is leveraged in retail. We don't actually realize, but actually every day we are some way or the other using data. We don't realize, but it's just a part and parcel of our life. So this is something about retail. I also try to bring up some examples from banking and finance. All right. So why I always prefer to give talk on various applications of data science industry wise, so that whenever I talk about a particular industry, you can relate about it, right? So once I tell retail, you can just relate to retail industry, and you can just even imagine that how much amount of data can be generated. Do you think that Amazon generates less amount of data every day? No, it generates some millions and millions of rows or amount of data. So how does they manage it? They do have a complete team of around some 3 to 400 data scientists, right? And they manage the complete backbone of Amazon, the complete backbone of a big retail chain. So it's something like where we don't realize, but at the end of the day we have to realize where we are standing upon, right? Similar way it comes to banking and finance. As I talk about banking and finance, I would say that very big banking segments like HDFC, like ICICI, and also some foreign banks like JP Morgan and Wells Fargo, etc. So these are few of the examples where they do have lots and lots of people who are working in the data science division, right? Because banking is more prone to fraud, more prone to various types of patterns that they may not have seen before. So these are some classical examples which I tried to find out from the banking perspective. I myself have worked in a banking and a finance industry, so I do understand. So basically, the industry where I work was they are into insurance and They are into insurance, and they are also into banking applications, and it is one of the Fortune 500 companies. So in that particular team where I was working as a data scientist, I could find out what are the day-to-day challenges that they faced regarding a particular fraud or a particular um, kind of a, you can say, a anomaly, kind of, where they were sometimes blank that what they should come up with, but at the end of the day it was like they have to solve it. So these are few of the things which people usually come across, but it is not restricted to this, it is more than this, right? So banking and finance basically comes with a term called credit risk modeling. Everyone would have understood this, that whenever you go to apply for a credit card or a loan, your credit score or your CIBIL score is checked. How do you think that CIBIL score came into being? Is it only because of like they give a random scoring to your profile? No, it's not that way. It is purely based upon the data and the past transactions that you have done, right? So whether you talk about your transactions, whether you talk about any other loan that you have taken, any other credit card that you have taken, so all of those things comes into being when they calculate the CIBIL score. So based upon your healthy CIBIL score, they give you loan or a credit card. So understand where in the detail the data, the usage of data is lying. Right. So based upon that, they also try to see that which customers are good for them to give a particular product, and which customers are not good for them. Right. So this is how they make the structure in the backend. They try to give a score at every point of time. If at all it is a new customer, and they are, if at all they have some default, right, in the past, and they are defaulter in loan or credit card in some other bank, then definitely they will not accept that particular consumer or customer for their further process. They will reject it at that point of time. So they have various levels of scoring a particular customer. It's not only about the CIBIL score, it is also about some other aspects. So overall they will check everything, so that if at all they give the credit card or the loan to a consumer who is not reliable enough, who is not able to pay the loan or the credit card on time, then the bank is going to have more and more defaults. So that is why bank always go for a check, a multiple check before they give anything, right? So that is completely based upon credit risk modeling. So a complete way of modeling is done, where it is seen that whether a particular bank should give a particular product to a customer or not. Then a very classic example of customer lifetime value. For example, they have some inactive customers, they have some active customers, and they might have some proactive customers. There are some customers who always pay on time. Bank doesn't have to even see about it. Whenever there is a due date, before that they pay. So they come under this high CLV, that is customer lifetime value, right? High customer lifetime value. They are very precious customer for the bank or the industry. There are some active customers who are just in between, and there are some inactive customers who is just in this low CLV region, right? Like almost around 20 percentage, for example. So if at all they wanted to see that they wanted to sell something, so will they go and sell to this inactive customers? No, definitely not, because the risk of selling here is quite high. So that's why they always do segmentation based upon customer lifetime value, whether they should sell it to the active customers or proactive customers. So if at all it is proactive, they don't have any risk of default. If at all it is active, there might be some risk, but it's not always true. Okay, and if they go for inactive customers, then definitely there is a higher chance of getting defaults. So that is how bank tries to understand. How do they understand that whether somebody is inactive, whether somebody is active or proactive? Definitely by the previous ways by which they have responded to the bank, whether through transactions, whether through any other products, or whether through any other kinds of services that bank has provided to the customer. Through that through that particular data, they understand like which customer falls in which CLV range, right? And they also try to do a customer segmentation, like how they have done a customer a lifetime value over here. They also try to do a customer segmentation, right? Segmentation based upon geographics, like it can be some different country based, city based, language based, based, population, how much population is there, demographic based. It can be based upon age, gender, income, etc, etc. And this demographics also plays a very important role when they consider somebody for any type of product. Because if at all, I can give you an example. If at all somebody who is at the age of 60, right, who is at the age of 60 and maybe 59, okay, and they are going to get their retirement in the next year. By 60 people retire, right? Who is into particular service, so 60 is the retirement age. Now bank has to think whether they should give that a particular product or a particular credit card or loan to that particular customer or not, because it's of high risk. Once they are out of their employment and once they are retired, some may get pension, but other people may not get a pension. So if at all that is not there, then how would bank get back its money? So that time it is very very much very much difficult for them to to understand that, okay, these are the people whom we should not consider. Okay, even that time also bank doesn't reject it. They try to understand more and more about the customer, that they have somebody who can assist them in that particular process or not. So they do a co-application. Maybe um that person is 60 years and they can do a co-application with his daughter or son, and maybe provided with that, the bank can give that particular product. So see how much level of analysis is done in the back end, we don't even realize, but it is actually done in a practical basis, right? So based upon all of these decisions, they try to do some predictive analytics. They try to see whether they should cross sell certain products to the existing consumers. They should have any retention policy. They should have any more segmentation, and then they can do a recovery if at all something is not working out, or something is working out really well, whether they should go for a proper recovery or they have faced a fraud. And that way the complete cycle works out. So how do they know that they should cross sell something? They should sell something to a person, definitely by their previous ways by which the bank has realized that customer, right? So that is where the prediction of bank comes into play. So these are few of the well-known examples of banking and finance. So retail, banking and finance, healthcare, these are mostly so these are the industries which use data mostly, right? So I try to cover most of the examples here, but understand that these particular examples are just a part. Data science applications are huge and vast. So wherever you see around you, there will be a usage of data. So we have to see in that manner. Being as a data scientist, we have to see data in each and every corner, each and every place, wherever we go. So we only talk in a data driven way, because we understand that data has led to that particular position where everybody at some point of time, if they're not coming now, but at some point of time, they have to come and think in a data driven way, right? So then, pharmaceuticals, healthcare industry. very huge industry where the usage of data has so much of impact, and everybody would have got that through COVID-19 pandemic, right? So you can see every day when you open Google, you would see the numbers that are coming up, that this many people are infected in this state, and how many states are leading in COVID-19 infected patients, how many people died, what is the mortality rate, which country has got more people, those who are migrating from other countries. So then what is the growth, whether the growth has decreased or whether it has increased over 2020 to 2021 when the pandemic was at the peak, right? So we have seen first wave, we have seen second wave, and it was predicted that we will see third wave as well, and still it is going on, and we all are literally under the pandemic. So this kind of analysis, every time it goes on, whenever we wanted to understand what is the impact of the pandemic on various segments of not only healthcare but also into industry and also into other markets, right? So we can also understand that because of pandemic, people understood that there are less healthcare facilities, there are less healthcare facilities in some of the countries. Now, after the pandemic came, everybody was running for a healthcare facility, right? So, only seeing the data and not implementing that what decisions has to be taken, that is not something which is again going to work. So, data is there definitely, but after the data, also the implementation process should be very, very good enough to overcome that particular scarcity. So many things people came to know during this pandemic time, that how weak their immunity is, how they came to know that. They came to know because when they were having a infection of COVID, few people were able to fight out and they came out of the COVID situation, but few people were not able to fight out, and their immunity has raised so high. I mean, it was lowered down so much that they almost went into the phase where they have faced death. Many people have lost their family members and so on. So all of those things have came up as an impact to the society, to the businesses, to everything, right? So this kind of analysis always goes on whether we are into pandemic or not, but still every time this kind of impact analysis goes on at each and every particular stage, right? So healthcare industry and pharmaceutical industry is one of the very big example, like retail and banking. There are also other industries you can see. There are you have transportation industry, you have to travel industry, I mean, and then you have industry like telecommunication, you have agriculture, you have industries like any classical industry, right? So all of these industries do use data to see that how they can decide based upon that, right? So these are few of the industries which I try to show some examples and try to relate you to the practical aspect, that how actually the analysis happens and how what you see as a result is something, it is a result of the analysis that is done in the back end, that is done in the background, right? So these are few of the examples from my list of implementations of various projects in my career, whether I was in research and then I moved into industry. So these are few of the examples. Obviously, it's not possible for me to go and show you all the list of projects or implementations that I've done, but these are few classic examples which I try to bring in front of you. Um, there is a software which has been created, and that's a artificial intelligence based lung disease prediction software. So this software is named as artix, and this was basically taking digital x-ray images, and it will go through a image processing, and then it goes to a particular algorithm in the backend as a API, wherein wherein the API tries to understand what kind of whether that lung which has been fed to the system, whether that lung has any that lung image has any type of disease. So whether it is a COVID lung, or whether it is a non-COVID lung, or whether it is a lung of pneumonia, or whether it is a lung of tuberculosis. So the model that was used in the backend was purely a machine learning model, which tries to understand that what kind of disease or what kind of lung condition that particular image has. Now, I was telling you about video and audio and image data. So these are the new kind of data which people basically are working nowadays. Earlier, people used to work with only text, numbers, and only Excel sheet, right? But now the data is more unstructured. So if it is more unstructured, if it is not in a structured way, how are you going to deal with those data? So day by day the algorithms, day by day the implementations that has been done, so that is getting improved, right? So because of that, it is also an application in various industries, as well as the applications have led up to improve the existing processes to a very higher extent, right? So that is what has happened with artix as well. So the algorithm goes on, first we try to use some basic machine learning algorithm, then we try to use some deep learning algorithm, and so on, right? So every time the particular algorithm goes on refinement, and then we come up into a result which is more refined than the existing result. That is how you go on refining the process. So this is one of the softwares for which I have worked on, and it goes really well, and it has been accepted by few of the hospitals and few of the healthcare units to find out the consistency, and also to understand like how COVID patients, I mean, to filter out basically the initial COVID signatures in the lungs. And because once the pandemic was at a very high stage, right, that time thousands of people will be standing in a line for getting themselves tested, or maybe the hospitals were full, there were no beds and all those. So this kind of software helps the doctor to at least filter out the lungs which have little bit of signatures. If out of 100 people 50 people have signatures, they'll just go for separating out that 50 people and go for further RT-PCR or any other kind of test. So this particular software helped in that, and AI into healthcare has been the newest trend, and also it is helping out really well. Then I also have worked on Transpeak and Mylango. So these are basically speech recognition based systems. So this Transpeak was basically to understand to help the sales professionals to have the text data converted into a speech data, right? So and it is also the other way around. So if at all the sales professionals are speaking, and their speech will be converted into a text, and that would be going for a review for the training and quality purposes. So basically what we see in a banking IVR or any kind of IVR systems, right? So this was basically nearby to that, but it was much more advanced, and it was having implementation of AI to continuously learn from that process, and also to help the sales professionals during their training, right? Mylango 2 was the same thing. It was a speech recognition based system from videos. So this project basically was from video. how to extract out the text, basically the transcript, and then go into a way where it can be converted into a text and the other way around. So it seems to be very easy, and you might be going and finding out certain examples in the internet, but it's not as straightforward as we think, because sometimes whatever transcript you see in YouTube, right, that is not the same thing, because that transcript is somehow given separately while they are uploading a YouTube video. This is something which is happening. The complete thing is happening through a AI based model. So wherein you don't have to give anything manually. Once they hit the API, all the computations are done, and it comes out as a form of the end result. So this was basically used by one of the Dubai based company, and they came out with this as their one of their initial products. So basically they created this as one of their MVP, and now they are trying to improve it more and more to serve to their customers. Then also few classical examples of understanding breast cancer, heart diseases. I won't go much detail into that. I would like to see a little bit more about Novorush. Novorush, this was it was for a coffee brand. So they are basically a coffee chain, and they wanted to understand what are the different sentiments of the coffee lovers which who visit their stores, right? So in between pandemic, so the coffee lovers were not coming to their outlets, so they used to provide it to their home. So they used to go for a subscription based every month, or 3 months or 6 months based subscription for their existing consumers, and they used to provide them in home. They wanted to understand how do they feel being into coming into the outlet and having the coffee with that particular ambience where they can read book, they can read books, they can have some light music playing on, and they can have people those who are discussing something over a coffee. So all those kind of various parameters were considered, and then they try to understand what would be the sentiment of the people if they are in home and they are not getting that ambience, because coffee is one of the it's the second most famous beverage that is drank in India, and also in some other countries it's the first most preferred beverage. In India, tea is the first one. After tea, it's coffee. So it is very, very important for a coffee brand to understand how can they serve their customers well, right? So these were some of the examples on which I have worked. Apart from that, there are other examples on which I have worked and implementations were done, but I just kept limited to this many so that I can really give you a glimpse of how the particular thing works out. Now, coming to after understanding all those applications, okay, we know that what is data science, what are the applications in various industry. Now, coming to a point where you also would be interested to know, right, what are the top skills? If at all I want to go in a data science industry, what should I learn? What should I have inside me? So the skills which are there, if you can see in the left hand side, you definitely need analytical mind, because once you have an analytical mind, once you have a mind where you can understand certain things in a smart way. So there is a difference between hard work and smart work. So how you do a work and how other person does a work with the same material and the same thing is totally different. That person might be doing a smart work, you might be doing a hard work, or you might be doing a smart work and that person might be doing a hard work. So there the difference so the difference comes there. And then basically if you want to come to this industry, you have to understand everything analytically. Okay. So these are few of the terms which comes into being when you talk about analytics, definitely statistics and mathematics, definitely text mining, definitely data mining, definitely machine learning, predictive modeling, simulation. Nowadays, lot of things are happening for natural language processing. Natural language processing basically deals with text data, right? Playing with the text data. Then you have graph analytics, various forms of data which you can visualize and which you can analyze with the help of graph theory, right? So all of those terms will come into being when you think about analytics. Then little bit knowledge about CS, computer science, little bit knowledge about programming, about the technology and infrastructure. You don't have to go much detail into it, but definitely a basics of programming is it is preferred and it is also encouraged. Data management skills, definitely understanding and visualizing data. What are the types of databases? How about you go understanding various kinds of business intelligence that you do with a particular kind of a data. Then comes your big data, right? Wherein that is again next level. Once you understand the initial level of data management, then comes your next level of big data, where you need to know about big data analysis and various tools to understand that. And as well, all of those things would come into being. Visualization, yes. So a person also should be very good in communication. When you are into this field, you should be very, very good in communication. Communication plays a major role in this field, because once you have done some analysis, if you are not able to make the other person understand of what you have done, then definitely it makes a cock and bull story for them, because they won't understand your programming skills. They will not understand your codes. They will not understand anything. They will only understand, okay, you have done this analysis. What is the result of this analysis? How you can help us? That's all they can understand. Apart from that, they are not at all interested in what you have done. If at all nothing is coming out of your code and nothing is going into their head, they are just a layman for you. Okay, so always understand that communication and your skills of art and designing that particular use case into a form where any common person can understand that. Like, when I was telling you about the examples about the applications, that time I was talking to you regarding various kinds of real time examples that you go through every day. Then you are in a position to understand that, okay, this is the place where she told that, okay, this is the application where we can understand that, okay, some data is going into that, and this has happened, that has happened. So if I talk jargons to you, if I talk just the technical terms to you, if somebody who is not from this field would be thinking that as a cock and bull story. Okay, so that's why communication and art and design skills are very important. And last skill would be definitely to understand, to have a domain knowledge. If you go to a particular industry, that particular you should know about that industry. If you go to healthcare, you should have little bit background about knowing the healthcare systems. If you go into a banking and finance industry, definitely you should know what are the terms, what are the methodologies, what are the policies that are there in place for that particular industry, right? And it is also important to understand that the particular process that you are doing, that should take in the form of a kind of a small MVP, minimum viable product. So always think in a product way. Think that your particular thing should go in the form of a product. Why product? Because that forms a I mean, whenever you are trying to give some consulting, or you are trying to give impart some knowledge about the data, if at all it is in the form of a product, people can connect more. They are not interested in what you are doing, they are interested in what product you have built. That is how this kind of industry works, and that is how it falls into a particular automation. So a product mindset is also very much important when you count on the top skills, right? So these are few of the things which should be grown once you come into this industry. It doesn't come in one day, it doesn't come in one night. You have to literally work, and you have to make your mindset in that way that you understand that what and all are required. When you enter into that particular segment, you yourself will understand that okay, I am lacking in this and I should improve my skills. Regarding the technologies that we use, so this is a report of 2019 by python.org. So they have seen that Python is the most used programming language in data science. After that, you have RapidMiner, you have Excel R, you have SQL, you have TensorFlow, Keras, right? So TensorFlow and Keras is a framework used for advanced computing, basically deep learning and other stuffs. You have Tableau for visualization, and you have also Scikit-learn. So all of those are basically the softwares which are basically used in this industry. So Python understanding, so we basically work with Python, and basically when we go into a big data platform, that time we use Spark or Hadoop. But the first preferred language will be always Python. So these are few of the technologies which are kept in mind, and which have gained much more importance over the years. Now, coming to data science career, how are you planning to go into a career? Before that, you should also know that what are the compensation that makes data science as a lucrative career, right? So if you see in the left hand side chart, these are the average salaries. So it is like in US dollars, and these are you can see that a data scientist gets almost about 100,000 dollars in the US, right? So US is told as one of the hub for understanding more about data science and AI application, if at all we consider outside India. So these are few of the job titles which are basically seen when we go into the market, like US, UK, and any other countries. So we have data scientist, we have business intelligence manager, we have data architect, we have data engineer, we have business intelligence developer, we have business analyst, data analyst. So basically, people start their career with a data analyst, then they go into a business analyst, then they go into, so it is just like a bottom up approach. So once you cross all of the stage, you go to a position where you become a data scientist. So data scientist is one way and data engineer is one way. So this is how they get the compensation over there. In India, if we consider, India is told as one of the most I mean, it is one of the top three countries where technology and data has evolved over the last 10 years tremendously. Okay, you can see the compensation that are given for a data science role. So if at all it is Bangalore, it is providing you almost around a 10 to 12 lakhs of package. Now you might think that okay, we are a fresher, and how do we land up into high packages? No, it is not something like that. When you have skills, it doesn't restrict you to be from an elite institute. It doesn't restrict you to be from a place where you might not have gone through any exposure of it, but still people do bag this kind of packages, even more than this, even if they come fresh out of their college. So you might be seeing in LinkedIn, you might be seeing in certain news that somebody has bagged a offer of 1 crore in Google, for example. So how they being into from right from their college, how do they bag a 1 crore offer? You never know, you never know. If you have skills, if you have that particular thing that industry need, then definitely package is not a barrier. So Bangalore leads in this, and then comes Chennai, then comes Hyderabad, Mumbai, Pune, and so on. Right. So this was the analysis that was done through Glassdoor, Payscale, and Indeed. So these three are the sites where you find various reviews for various places, for various companies, and for various segments of industry. And through their review, it has been seen that these are the average packages that is offered in India. So this makes you to understand that to what extent people can go to hire a very good person into this field, right? Now coming to we have known about all of those salaries, and we know why to learn data science, what are the applications. Definitely the next thing would be, how should I learn it? What is the learning path? Right. So the learning path would be definitely coming across. So this is a roadmap. So this roadmap includes mathematics, probability, and statistics. That is the basic, and that is the backbone of data science. Understand, if you don't have mathematics and statistics known, definitely understanding the concepts of algorithms is way too hard. Okay, so mathematics, your probability skills, your mathematics skills, basically linear algebra, and vector calculation, your regression analysis, classifications, your probability analysis like discrete and continuous distribution, and normal distribution, for example. So all of those probability distribution functions that you go through, that is one of the basis. And also regarding, if you come to statistics, basically t-test and all that, your ANOVA, and then your understanding about the hypothesis testing, simulation, right, correlation, regression, etc. So all of those concepts are very much important initially to start off with. Now we don't require too much of exposure, but we don't require too less of exposure. We should be in between, where we understand the concepts and we can relate that to the particular use cases. After you go through a roadmap where you have done your mathematics, probability, and your statistics skills really well, you land up into programming. So there are two options basically which are preferred. One is Python and one is R. Both has its own importance, right? Python has its importance in understanding the libraries, and they have a very rich library of packages for basically for data science. And R is basically used for mainly statistical analysis. So even R has few of the packages which are very much required for data science as well. But it is said that Python has much more richness. I'm not biased towards a particular programming language, but I'm just telling you out of my experience, where I have used Python as well as R. I have worked in both the languages, and I have seen that how Python has evolved over the years, and how it is so easy to deal with it, and very user friendly language, right? Then comes your understanding of little bit of databases like SQL and other stuffs. Then you come to understanding machine learning. So what are the different ML models, how you deal with various kinds of anomalies in the data. So these are few of the terms which many of you might not come across, and many of you may know it, right? Many of you may not know what and all to be done when you come across number data, when you come across categorical data. So all those will cover up along with the different types of ML models. Then comes your deep learning. It is just the advanced portion of ML, where this complete deep learning, understand, it's based upon basically the concepts of regression. Okay, so that's what where when you read about regression analysis, and when you go about you talk about gradient descent, you talk about any other concepts of regression analysis, this is the basis of deep learning, where you learn about neural network, and where you learn about different forms of neural network, whether you work with a text data, whether you work with an image data, the basis is mathematics. So deep learning completely is based upon the initially the methods of regression, and then it goes into other forms of advanced analytics. Okay, then once you have done your deep learning, then basically understanding more about feature engineering. Feature engineering plays a role over here as well after this, and also it can be learned before machine learning as well. So this particular portion can be here. So feature engineering in the sense how you play with the different, if it is a structured data, how you play with the table or the structured data, and if it is unstructured data, how you play with the unstructured data. That is where the feature engineering comes into play, and there are various techniques to do that. Then this is the classic example nowadays of NLP. NLP has gained much more importance over the last 5 years, 4 to 5 years almost approximately, where people started playing with text data, with various types of documents from which they wanted to extract out some data, and they wanted to do some analysis. That is where the NLP or natural language processing applications comes in, right? Then you have data visualization. As I say, that visualization is also very important. If you have done all of this and you are not able to represent your analysis to a opposite person, then that will be something which the person doesn't understand. So you should also have a decent knowledge of any one of the BI tools, whether it is Tableau, whether it is Power BI, whether it is ClickView, ClickSense. So anything. So the most used tool is Tableau and Power BI, right? First it is Tableau, and then it is Power BI, and then you have the classical ones like the Excel, VBA, and other stuffs. But definitely a visualization tool, knowledge of a visualization tool is very important. Then comes your deployment, how you can deploy, whether you deploy in a cloud, whether you deploy in a framework of Python. So Flask and Django are the deployment frameworks of Python that you can learn, or whether it is uh, a GCP or a Heroku cloud where you can deploy, and it can be AWS as well. So at least the deployment method should be very much clear, so that you can represent your analysis in the form of some basic initial UI, right? And other points would be definitely to understand domain knowledge, that I said in the top skills, right? That domain knowledge, understanding the domain and the industries, really really important if you have to do any analysis on the data which is belong to that industry. Communication skill and other things are very very important. If you're not able to speak, if you're not able to tell what you have actually done, then it is of it goes into vain, so it doesn't work out. Then going and having a practice of lots and lots of case studies, lots and lots of examples which are there. There is a platform called Kaggle, where they go into various types of data science competitions. You can go and participate there once you have done with your basics, and once you have done you have read your basics, you can go and practice. There are various platforms, whether it is Kaggle, you have Hacker Earth, you have Analytics Vidya, who also does a tremendous good amount of job for setting up competitions for data science, and very big industries come across, and they try to work up through that for the competitions, for the people and for the aspirants who are willing to come to the data science field, right? So this is the learning path in short, uh, of how you should pursue your data science journey. So it starts from mathematics, statistics, and it ends into practicing with lots and lots of case studies. So this flow, this roadmap is very important to keep in your head, inside your head, whenever you start preparing for your data science journey. Now, after we talk about this, we definitely would think that data science is difficult to learn. Many people say that it is difficult to learn, whether it is a truth or a myth. It is completely based upon you. So whenever you see that people are telling no, data science is a very complex field, we will not be able to learn, will not be able to progress how people are doing it, people require experience to come into a data science field, it is not always true. Understand that initial understanding of your basic concepts, understanding the problem and having an analytical approach to solve them is the prerequisite for having your data science career. Understanding of the basic concepts. When we talk about the learning path, understanding each and everything in the learning path and going ahead. If your basics are clear, nobody can stop you to progress in this field, right? No doubt you cannot do it in a very short amount of time. You require time to brush up your skills, but go on practicing at each and every level, and you will definitely land up into a stage where you start understanding everything analytically, right? Learning from various sources, it's not acceptable sometimes, because you can learn a same concept from thousand different sources and you will get confused. So it is always better to sit and chalk out from which particular resource you want to learn, right? Don't try to master all skills at once. It will never work out. If you think that I'll just learn data science in only one night or in only 1 month, it's not possible. Very honestly, it's not possible. People, those who have worked in the industry for more than 15, 20 years, still people get stuck whenever some complex problems comes into our path. So never try to master anything. Try to understand the concepts and try to go ahead with the flow. And the last mantra would be practice, practice, and practice. So it is basically for somebody who is willing to come into this industry, you have to just be blind and you have to be practicing a lot. So it's just like how you are seeking towards this field, you are seeking towards understanding everything analytically around you. Now, people usually do find that there is a skill gap, and there is a way where people think that okay, I might not have that kind of expertise or that kind of way to like cover up this skill gap. So how do you do that? There are various ways to do that, how to cover up your skill gap. Basically understanding and learning the necessary skills, whatever is required you learn that, because this field is a vast field. If you go on learning one topic, for you can learn it for 1 year. It is that vast, okay? And even though you learn it for 1 year, you may not master it. So learn only the necessary skills and just progress in the career. Curate a path. have have a path, have a plan, have a learning path or a plan in your head that I should follow this plan, I should find out this path and go with that plan. Proficiency with the tools is very much important, and it is also very important to understand that you should walk in a right direction. Direction in this field is very important. Many people would come to you and they say, oh, you have not learned this, oh, you have not learned that, oh, you have not done that. How you're working in a data science field, or how you're progressing towards a data science field, you have not learned this. But understand that going in a right direction within a in a right manner is something which is very important to cover up your skill gap. So if you have all of this pointers in mind, definitely you are going to have a very good direction of progression towards the field. Okay, so we being into this particular expertise, and we bring into I mean, we bring a team of almost around 10 to 12 people who are into this industry for the last 3 decades, and we feel that we help you bridge this skill gap, right? So we are actually at the intersection of nurturing students from the initial stage to the placement stage and the job offers. So whenever you nurture your learning process, understand there will be a combination of trainings that you would go through. There should be a mentorship, there should be live sessions, there should be some e-learning portal, and there should be some internships and job offers that should be there for you. Job offers would definitely come at the end. Before that, having a complete exposure to the field with the people, those who are already working in the field as your mentor, is something which is very, very important at this point of time. You get more and more opportunities to get hired. You can improve yourself, you can rectify, if at all you are going in a wrong path, you can rectify yourself to become fit. Understanding from the industry experts and understanding how they have, what are the challenges that they have faced and they are facing at a regular basis, is something which will be very, very much important. So how the things, how the programs are designed, it is designed based upon your expertise. It can be in the form of workshops, it can be in the form of 3 6 months or 1 year programs. It is not basically to make somebody feel that okay, we should learn only through the workshops. Various forms of programs are given so that it defines your level of expertise. If at all you have a prior experience of learning data science, definitely a short term program would help you out. And if at all you are a newbie in this field, definitely a long term program will help you out to shape up yourself to this particular field, right? So we have also conducted sessions for institutes, like we have conducted for IBS Mumbai. We have also done for Techno India and JR Institute. We have done for PES University, University of Mysore, and GSS College, and so on. And we do take pride to at least understand that what are the requirements of the industry, and how do we equip people to come to that particular level where they can match up with the industry expectations. So our professors and our trainers are from very esteemed universities like IIT Kanpur, IIM Bangalore, IIT BHU, BITS Pilani, and Central University of Hyderabad. So they bring definitely a elite name, but they also bring a huge amount of industry experience to make somebody equipped for the industrial fit. And these are the companies with whom we are associated with. So you can see there are big names in this. So basically we work with them in association, and the people from this particular industries come and do train you into this data science field. So these are the companies where they do leverage data science in a huge way. So you have Microsoft, you have Philips, you have Siemens. So these are into basically healthcare, and you have IBM, Infosys, Wipro, obviously. Then you have IQVIA, which is a part of Quintiles, and they are actively into a data science research center. I mean, they are a data science research center, and they have actually made it separate out of Quintiles only to basically concentrate on data science. You have EY. You might have heard the news that EY is going to hire 9,000 professionals in data science in the year 2022, which is a very big news. And it has come just few days back, and they are going to hire basically 9,000 professionals. So they don't have a barrier of fresher and experience. They have various segments for freshers and various segments for experienced people, and very good exposure to data science uh, uh, fields, right? And you have NH, that is Narayana Hridayalaya. You have people might think that okay, they are hospitals, they're very big chain of hospitals, but at some point of time, when you go inside it, you find, you will not believe, Narayana Hridayalaya is one of the esteemed hospitals in the country. And it is founded by Dr. Devi Shetty. And you will not believe, they have a team of almost around 200 data scientists who are working for all of their patients, and for all of the processes that is going on in the back end. So this is something which we don't believe, but definitely it is going on. And all of these companies, we do have people who have been associated with us, and uh, we have been closely working with this company. So at the end, I would like to end up this talk with only one quote. It is like, realize and relate your dream of data science career with us. So, whenever you see that all the experts come into a single platform, and they try to help out people who definitely wants to come into this field, try to see the dream, and try to see the dream in such a way that you uh, come out with flying colors. So with this, I just close the session, and we can probably see a few of the questions if any one of you have.
Thank you very much, Ananya. And indeed, you have given a very comprehensive insight into the field of data science and the career path, how to choose your career path. And now we can take some questions from the audience. And for that, either you can unmute yourself and ask questions, or if you want, you can type the question in the chat box. Already we have received one question. I'll just ask that question. We have received it in the chat box, and it is
Sure.
from Professor Amit Singhal, who teaches in Commerce Department of the college. He is asking, which
Hmm.
degree at graduation should be preferred for a career in data science? Is statistics honors preferable, or whether students from BCom would be considered at par?
Okay. So this is a question actually which is asked by most of the people, because many of them come from a background where they don't have where they have a management background, or maybe a commerce background, or maybe some of the background where statistics is not there. Right. So if at all we talk about the degree which should be concentrated over here, is definitely a background of statistics is much more preferred. Because when we go into an industry where in the JD it is given that somebody who is a professional from a statistics background, or a mathematics background, or a programming background, that is something which is preferred. But it is not restricted to that it should it other people from a commerce background or from other background cannot come in. It's always good that whenever you come from other background, equip yourself with the skills, and then go ahead into this field. I have seen people who have done PhD in astrophysics, and they came into a field of data science, and they have almost around 7 to 8 years of experience, and they have grown into a principal data scientist. People can't even imagine, people have come from such type of fields where there is no background of statistics, and basically physics is having a little bit touch of mathematics, but not that much of statistics. But people have come into this field, they have learned, they have equipped themselves, and they have gone across this. Yeah, so the degree is not a barrier. The only the important thing is to having that urge to learn. That's what I can say.
Thank you, Ananya. Any other question? People, either you can unmute yourself and ask it. Okay, so there is one question from a student.
Hmm.
Tushar is asking, which type of softwares and platforms should we practice or work on to be industry savvy?
Okay, yeah. So for regarding softwares, it is preferred that you have a very good, decent knowledge about. You should know Python. Python is one of the most preferred language nowadays in the industry. R is also equally good, but few of the industries, I mean, I can say almost 80 to 85 percentage of the industry uses Python. So the first level of analysis and the first level of understanding the data can be done really well with Python. So Python can be one thing, and then for apart from that, for data visualization, you can go for Tableau, you can go for Power BI, any one of it. And also for deployment method, you can go for understanding any one of the platform of Python, either Django or Flask or any cloud framework. So these three can be good enough in the form of softwares or platforms to start your journey. After that, you have other tools as well, which you can learn later.
Okay, thank you. So, and I would just like to ask another question
Yeah.
in this regard. So, we teach R and C programming to our students currently.
Mm-hmm.
And so, just for the students, I'm asking this. So, how feasible is it to transition from R programming to Python? Like, if they want to if they want to study, if they have a background in R, is it easier to get a grab of Python programming?
Oh yes, oh yes. It is very easy to transition. I have started my career with R. I started my career with R and I have done a transition to Python. But when I have done a transition, I could see that lot of the concepts are almost same. Whatever we learn in R, we can see those concepts in Python. I mean, definitely the basic concepts doesn't change. If we talk about t-test, it doesn't change for R and for Python. Only the syntax changes. Other than that, it's very handy language and very easy to learn and understand.
Thank you very much. So there is one another question from Nitika. So she is asking, on an average, how much time does it take to be a professional data scientist? So that's a very
Okay.
broad question.
Yes, that's a very broad question, and data scientist is like you initially cannot start your career with data scientist position. You have to first start your career with being a initial data analyst or a business analyst, and then go into the phase where you can call yourself a data scientist. So if I talk about time, it is not something that we can fix the time. It depends upon how you learn, how you go in, and how you progress in your career. Definitely, if you have an experience of almost around 5 to 6 years minimum, you can land up into a data scientist position. I can tell you that much. That's a general time frame which basically people used to take upon.
Okay, so any other question, anyone? We are about, we are towards the end of the session now. So if there are no more questions, then I will request Professor Babita Goel from our Department of Statistics. I request ma'am to please uh, convey the vote of thanks to the speaker. Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks, Vishal. Am I audible to all?
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Vishal, for giving me this opportunity to thank Ananya. But I would not let go this opportunity to make certain comments also, right? Am I allowed? If yes, then
Exactly, of course, please.
thank you, Ananya. This talk was really very informative and it was delivered very well. It was enlightening, and I'm sure that various queries of participants, be our students or faculty members or any other people who have attended this meeting, their queries must have been quenched by this talk. By the way, Ananya, on a personal note, I have gone through your work profile and it is very impressive. In such a young age, you have taken up so many different and versatile projects and jobs. Actually, I'm having a bit of complex. Can I work with you anytime in future? You may take your time to think about this. I'm not in hurry. This is on a
Yeah.
personal note.
Yeah, sure. I would love to work, and I would love to take, I mean, I would love to work with you and talk with you and discuss more with you. This is basically my passion to go forward with this field, and anything in this field, anytime, I'm there.
Thank you. This was on a personal note. Now, we all of us we know about importance of data science, right? This is
Yeah.
as you have said, this is not new, but this is emergence and combinations of new techniques and their applications in real life problem, which in
Yes.
fact keep on renewing this field, right? Each day this is coming out to be on a new platform, right? If I say like this.
Yes.
So,
Yes. True.
right.
Yeah.
Among various examples quoted by you, I would like to point out one. All of we know about Google Baba, right? It knows everything about us.
Yes.
Sometimes, really, I think that they can read our thoughts in our minds. Hey, I'm thinking of something, and in the next moment, having this before me. I don't know how do they do that. So,
Correct, correct. Even
right. So,
Google goes with the same thing. I mean, the curation and other things which happens with the Google algorithm is ultimately AI, and that's something which is going in the back end, and it improves every day.
yeah,
Correct. It's a
yeah.
learning process.
So we all know about these things, but a direct interaction with some expert in this field, this is a very different experience. This is, I'm saying from my experience, I have really learned something today. So I'm sure many students who actually wanted to go into this field, they will now be more determined to go for it. So I hope our students will have more interaction with you in future, because what I see, data science is a new tomorrow rather, right? The
Yes,
coming tomorrow that belongs to data science. So basically, this is an aggregation of tools, and the user has to decide which tool is to be used in a given scenario, as you have said this.
correct. Yes,
So,
it is
but in
basically understanding like what you want to use at the end of the day. It is not restricted to one or two tools, but to understand and to think analytically. It's
yeah.
just that. Yeah.
So, budding statisticians, pull up your socks and be prepared to take these things into your strides. Otherwise, you will face the competition from other scientists, right? You are already a step ahead of others. You already have statistical techniques in your stride. You understand the intricacies of data. You know modeling. You know robustness of results. So, make use of your edge over others, stretch your perceptions, and sharpen your instincts. Learn to read between the lines, learn new techniques, and most importantly, learn about underlying phenomena. As she has been saying again and again, you should learn about the new underlying phenomena and learn to grab opportunities as well. So, among various phenomena discussed by you, Ananya, COVID-19, this is the area where even I am working. And I'm
Hmm.
sure that with this huge, very huge and detailed information available on this pandemic, data scientists across the spectrum, they must have pounced on this data to snatch their piece of information and to make use of that information, right?
True, true. Yes, true.
Another one, which is in Indian context, we all are familiar with Notebandi. And after Notebandi, emergence of virtual wallets across the spectrum. So an Indian phenomena that had global implications. So I think data science must have something to do with this phenomena also.
Correct. That has been there, and it is told that over the last, according to the survey, India is the leading use. There are many users in India who is using digital payments, and it has crossed China.
Yeah,
China was the leading before. Now India has crossed, and it is in the number one.
yeah. So the world has shrunk after data science, right?
Yes,
So
yes, true.
finally, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Principal Ramjas College and IQAC, who along with Department of Statistics took initiative to hold such a useful webinar. Hopefully this is one of the first of the one among many. In future we are going to have many. This is the first. I thank teacher in charge Professor Narendra Pishkarna and seminar in charge Dr. Rajkumari Behel for all their efforts. Special thanks to Dr. Anuradha and Dr. Vishal Dev, who conceived and implemented this beautiful concept of holding such a useful webinar. Unfortunately, we are meeting virtually in times of pandemic. These are not normal times, but I hope one day we will be able to have face-to-face interaction. Special thanks to our students who keep on persuading us to organize such activities. I think in these crisis times, these are like their stress busters. I don't know. Good job, students. Keep it up. Thanks to students team and Ayan, who have acted as a link between students and faculty. So I think it's time to say bye. But with the promise to meet again. Thank you. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And with this, Ananya, and we'd like to end. But before that, I would like to tell the participants that some of you have missed out on the attendance. I have shared a link in the chat. Please go to the link and mark your attendance. That will be utilized for preparing your certificates. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. And now we are formally ending the session.